Okay. So firstly, I have to thank for this. Of course, there's a whole group of us working on this. So everybody, I want to thank everybody, but this is Yehudit Sarah Waller. So I want to thank her personally for bringing on Rabbi Nivin. Thank you so much. And I want to thank Rabbi Nivin for taking the time out of his very busy schedule to come on to this Nishmat group, that we are on this 40-day journey together to come to Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur in a different consciousness, with greater love and kindness and everything else we need to have the tools to stand before our Kodesh Baruch Hu this year, Bezrat Hashem, and open up all the gates to bracha that we all need so desperately. So Aryeh Nivin is the founder and director of Rabbi Aryeh Nivin's Chaburas and the Research Institute Machon HaAdam Hashalem. He takes classic Torah wisdom and translates it into practical and powerful tools to improve the well-being and vitality of his students and clients. Every week, Rabbi Nivin reaches hundreds of individuals throughout the world in both his private coaching practice and his weekly teleconferences. He has spent over 30 years transforming thousands of lives, helping individuals to live a life they really love. So with that, I feel so privileged. We all feel very, very privileged, Rabbi Nivin, to have you. And I'm going to give you the screen, and just making sure you're on. Always gets just 1 second. Okay, I saw you there before.
Right. Am I on the screen here? Or
Okay, yeah. So we didn't see you. I still don't see you, Rabbi Nivin. We hear you, but you have to open up your camera.
Here we go. I got it. I fixed it.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. So thank you for saving the moments.
Hold on. Let me just shut my light off. See my Israeli light bulbs over here? Anyway.
I have the same. Okay, thank you.
Okay. Hi, everybody. Welcome. I know some of the names on the screen here from my journeys many years ago. So you know who you are. Nice to see you all after all these years. And it's nice to be here. So you know who I am, and I'm speaking from the city of Ashdod here in Israel. And we used to say that this was missile territory, but now the whole country is missile territory. So we're not unique anymore, sadly. Okay. But I'm going to be speaking. Oh, first of all, I want to thank you for giving me this opportunity to speak. I've heard a lot about this group. It's an amazing idea. And thank you, Janet Waller. I call her Janet. And, great to thank you for this opportunity. And anyway, I'm going to speak for about 23 minutes, and then we'll do about 7 minutes of questions, if that's the right way to set it up. And I'm just going to give you a few tidbits about Elul. Believe it or not, I've been doing, it's crazy to sound, but I've been doing, my first Elul group was over 40 years ago in my early 20s. So I've been doing this for over 40 years. I mean, I can't believe how it sounds, And the power of Elul, I've literally, this is no exaggeration, with the power of Elul, I've literally seen people transformed. It's not an exaggeration, okay? So if we could hook in a little bit to what this is all about and understand what it is, let's try to come away with some of this idea in this brief meeting together. So first of all, the Leshem was, he's the grandfather of Rev Eliashiv, and he's the greatest Ashkenazi Makubal that we draw on today of the recent generations. And the Leshem divides this last period of the summer into what he calls the 45 days of Tikkun, okay? And the 45 days of Tikkun go from the 10th day of Av all the way until the 25th day of Elul. And the 25th day of Elul is the beginning of the Bria Sa'olam. So we're in this time period right now, and our Ya'ad, our destination, is the 25th day of Elul, and that's the creation of the world. And we're really supposed to look at it like we're recreating our world. We're recreating ourselves, right? And right now, we're in the second part of the 45 days of Tikkun. And you really want to look at this time period as a unique opportunity, unlike any other time period of the year, to fully, we'll talk about what this is, okay? But anyway, the 45 days of Tikkun is the best time of the year to find yourself, to get to know yourself, to reconcile with yourself, to heal yourself, to reconcile with others, with Hashem. It's a time of enormous, enormous power. And just to tell you how powerful it is, I'm going to quote from the Ben Ish Chai. The Ben Ish Chai says something that it's so powerful, it's impossible to even understand what he's saying. Listen to this. The Ben Ish Chai says that one moment of Elul, you get it? One moment of Elul is equal to a whole month of avoda during the rest of the year. Okay? Can you imagine that? One moment. Okay? So that's just to give us a sense of the enormous and powerful opportunity that comes before us. Now, I like to call Elul as International Deep Thinking Month. This is the month of deep thinking. And our goal in this month is to, peel away the layers of ourselves through certain techniques. I'll give you a few tonight. And we want to peel away and just find ourselves. And the goal by the 25th day of Elul is to have clarity of purpose, to know who we are, and particularly where we're going for this year, right? What is my yearly direction for the year? But it's there's a special koach in Elul to just peel away the layers into yourself. And it's almost like like they used to have these images, like it's the end of World War II, and this guy's been fighting in who knows where, Japan, for 5 years. And after 5 years, he's like coming back from the war to his like farm somewhere out in the boonies, right? And he's coming, and all of a sudden he's home. You're home. So we've been fighting our allegoric war for the year, whatever you'd like to say, our battle, our yiyud for the year, what our life's all about. And now we're coming home, and we're coming home to ourselves. And it's a unprecedented opportunity to find ourselves in the most powerful way. Now, in the agricultural cycle, Elul is the plowing. It's the time where we plow the ground, and I'll explain what that mashal is. But by the end of Elul, we want to think about who we are. In English, we say turn over the apple cart or something like that. We want to turn over our lives a little bit, turn over the soil to figure out who we are. And what happens is in Elul, we create we know what seed we want. And in Tishrei, we create the seed through the avoda of Tishrei. And in Cheshvan, we're going to plant the seed. So the self-knowledge work and the understanding we're doing right now is to come up to a situation where by the 25th day of Elul, we have clarity about who we are and what we're all about. And we've healed, we've gotten past some of our pain, past our constricted consciousness, and we're coming home. We're coming back from the war. We're coming home to who we are and what we're all about and what life is all about. Now, if you do Elul well, it's no exaggeration to say that it can transform your whole year, okay? And God gave us this special time, and he is with us, and he's guiding us on all of our steps, okay? That's part one. Okay, now, part two. Let's go back a little bit. Let's get a little bit of a deeper understanding. So the Arizal has this one line, right? And this one line of the Arizal, I literally have 4 or 5 hours of Torah just on this one line, okay? We're going to go through it a little bit, maybe 5 minutes instead of 5 hours. So the Arizal says like this: since the creation of the world, there never was, is, or will be another soul like yours. That's part A of the sentence. Since the creation of the world, there never was another moment like this. This moment is utterly unique. We are utterly unique, and this moment is utterly unique. And the third part is, therefore, nobody can mataken. Nobody can fix up what you can fix up, right? You do the math. In Israel right now, it's 4:38 p.m., okay? So this, and I don't have my seconds hands on it. Maybe I don't have a second hands, but it's 4:38 in X amount of seconds. There was never a moment like this in all of history. And there never was a unique moment there never was a unique personality like me in all of history. So I'm the only one. Aryeh Nivin can only fix up this minute called 4:38 in the way that Aryeh Nivin can fix it up. So therefore, the Rebbe says nobody can fix up what the other person can fix up. Now, if you follow through the logic of that and you absorb what that means, there's a lot of messages that come out of that idea. But you know something, you are utterly important. The world needs you. The world needs you to be you. The world needs you to fix up you. In America, they used to say these big signs for the army, Uncle Sam needs you, you know? So Hashem needs you to be you in the greatest way that you can be you. Anyway, there's a lot to absorb in that sentence from the Arizal. Nobody's irrelevant, no matter where we are, no matter what we're doing, no matter where we are in our life. Now, out of that question should come another powerful question, which is the essence of Elul. Well, if I'm so important to the world, okay, then who am I, right? If the world needs me, okay, then who am I and what I'm all about? That's the most basic question that comes out of that Arizal. And the Slonemer says, if you don't know who you are, if you don't know what your life is all about, you're like a blind man walking on a street at night. You don't know who you are. You don't know where you're going, right? Anyway, so you have a special frequency. And in the old days, they had a radio dial, and you turn the radio dial, and as you turned into your frequency, you'd hear like all these strange sounds, like woo, oh, there, I got it. WINS News, whatever it is. You're on the right station over there, right? So you have a special frequency, and our goal is to turn the dial till we find our frequency and who we are, and then to broadcast that out in the way that only we can uniquely broadcast that idea in the world. Now, when you understand what your frequency is, and there's a science to knowing what your frequency is, but it's a lot easier than what you think it is, and you live it, it's enormously pleasurable, not just slightly, enormously pleasurable. Because the neshama knows that you're living your life to the fullest and who you are. Anyway, so think about it. Think about the people in your life who represent this idea. Somebody who knows what his life is all about. She, and is plugged into it and living their life to the fullest and the power that represents. Just get a sense of who are those people in your life who, and in all different areas, in all different zones, people are living their life to the fullest. And I'll just give you a small representation. I'm not going to give a religious figure. I want to give a non-religious figure just to understand this. In Israel, there's a man called Melech Führer. And Melech Führer is this regular Belzer Chassid who just was a medical genius, right? And when he was younger, people started asking him medical questions, because, and he learned up the sugya, and he eventually became one of the most knowledgeable medical people of the whole country, in the world probably. He knows all the doctors. He knows all the procedures. He can read a medical file like nobody can. He started this organization, and what he does is he gives he's a medical askan, he's a medical whatever. And just to let you know, in order to get an appointment for him, you have to call a number at like 7:00 in the morning. There's 300 slots available, and by 7:02, they're all gone. Okay? They're all gone. Okay, 300 slots filled in a minute or two, and then he goes on to the next day. But his whole life is dedicated to helping people, and he speaks to all the heads of the hospitals. He speaks to them as a peer. He never went one day to medical school, right? And that's his shorish neshama, right? Anyway, I was personally helped by this man when I was ill about 10 years ago. He got me the best medical care in the world. And, Baruch Hashem, I was able to get in and get quality time with him. But my heart surgeon, who was the best heart surgeon in the world, okay, one of the, top 5 in the world, said he sat down for dinner with Melech Führer, because Melech Führer brought him to Israel. He said he was able to talk to 1 minute of that whole hour that he sat with him, right? Because every minute he was getting a call. And he says, no, send the airplane, get that plane to Brazil, to Dr. So-and-so, send this over there. He was launching a whole operation. And my heart surgeon, who was the biggest, he said, the man is an angel. Okay. Now I'm just giving you that as an example, because there's many examples of a person who like hit his zone, right? And he's living a life, they call it in modern psychology, a flow. Okay. And we want to be that. We want to find ourselves. We want to live flow. We want to live with power, vitality, transcendence, powerful joy, inspired amuna. That's the goals of our chaburas. And most of all, it's pleasurable. Okay, that's the main point. Anyway, so that was part 2 of my discussion over here. Now, the Slonim Rebbe, when he brings down this whole science of self-knowledge, unlike the secular world, our mission, what we call our mission, is not just our positive mission, our positive zone. The Slonim divides it into a Hebrew word called yiyud, which is the word ya'ad in the Hebrew, which is destination, my personal destination. And he says, just like we have a positive zone, we have a negative zone, not a negative zone, but what is the area of our life in ourselves and our personal character traits that we have to fix up? Okay. So we have our positive strength, our positive frequency that we're going to bring to the world, and we have our negative zone. That's our major life character flaws that you want to think about. And in Judaism, it's not just finding your positive zone. Your negative zone is also part of your mission, part of your tikkun. So just like you have a positive energy, we have a negative thing we want to fix up in the world, and that's on equal footing with the positive zone. Okay, so part of this self-knowledge journey that we want to come to an Elul is, what is our positive power, and what is the 1 or 2 or 3? It's pretty easy to do your tikkun. Everybody knows our tikkun. You could figure that one in a minute. Okay, right? What are the 1 or 2 or 3 things I need to fix up in my life? Anyway, once you know, okay, once you know this, okay, and you understand what it's all about, then you have the ability to live a transformed life, okay, way, way, way above the common man, and you're fulfilling God's will in the moment. You're living on a very different plane than most people. Now, here's the I don't know, maybe this is the semi-controversial part. In Slonim or Hasidus, he says, the Nesiva Shalom says, this is not just a nice idea, okay? That if somebody doesn't live their zone in the fullest, you're just completely missing the point. In a drasha of the Slonim Rebbe, he says like this. He calls it, allegorically speaking, not literally, but let's say a guy says, I don't want to do my yud, I don't want to do my tikkun, I don't want to fix myself up, I'm not going to pay attention to that. He calls it avoda zora, which theoretically means idolatry. But in the drasha of the Hebrew, it's avoda that is zar to you. It's avoda that is foreign to you. In other words, it's a central theme of Slonim or Chasidus, and something to consider what it is, and to understand this ability to understand yourself comes through Chodesh Elul. Anyway, back to Elul. So Elul has a special opportunity for self-knowledge, and you literally can peel away the layers, right, to get to your deepest selves. Now, we have our main Elul Chabura, which currently is, we're in our 4th class of the Elul experience, as they call it. We have about 110 women we meet once a week, and we're doing the avoda, and we have different exercises. So I want to go back to the plowing exercise for a second, just to give an example, okay? Now, once again, I'm sure all of you are farmers and you know exactly what plowing is all about, but let me tell you about plowing, okay? When you plow a field, whatever, you take a knife, sort of, in the most simplest idea, and you cut through the soil. Now it's all modern with machinery, but in the old days, they just had like a simple plow. You cut through the soil, and it turns over the soil, right? You have to do it to the whole field. And eventually, as I mentioned in Chodesh Cheshvan, you plant the seed in the ground after you turn over the soil. So you can ask the question, what do you need to plow for? I mean, with my tremendous agricultural experience, I say, just stick your finger in the soil and stick the seed in, right? What do you need to turn over the soil? Now, every farmer knows, anybody knew in the old days that of course you have to turn over the soil. But you have to turn over the soil because you have to bring in oxygen, okay? You have to oxygenate the soil, whatever, put oxygen into the soil, moisture, okay? It has to be loose. And only then can you put the seed in, okay? So that's the mushal, okay? The nimshal is, allegorically speaking, our brain is like, on the beginning of Elul, it's like compacted soil. It's thick soil. And what we want to do is we want to do exercises to loosen up the soil. We want to come up with different ideas and different ways to get to know ourselves, right? So we have every week we have 2 or 3 different exercises we do, but there's an exercise called the plowing cheshbon, okay? And the plowing cheshbon is very simple. I'm giving simple ones, okay? You go like this. You ask yourself basic questions, okay? Now I'm just going to throw out some basic questions, okay? And most of them are, I want to say stupid questions, but they're simple questions, okay? Why do I live in the town that I live in? Why do I live in Ashdod? Maybe I should live in Yerushalayim, right? Right? Why don't I live in the Golan? Okay. Why do I daven in the shul that I'm davening in? Why don't I daven in a different shul? Why am I affiliated with this community? Maybe I should be affiliated with another community. Why do I learn this type of Torah? Maybe you're affiliated with that type of Torah. You ask yourself 10 basic questions, and you want to know something? Most people, like 8 or 9 of them, 8 of them, they automatically know how to answer. Well, of course I live in this city for this reason. And of course I live in that community for that reason. But the amazing thing is, usually every year, you've been answering them all these years, and usually one year comes up to, yeah, why am I davening in that shul? Or right, something's changed, or why am I hanging around with those type of people? Maybe I hang around with these type of people. In other words, many times we outgrow our previous lifestyle, and we're not even aware of it, right? So the amazing thing is that our brain is compacted into our habits. We're living a life of habits. So this is like I don't know, it's maybe a 15-minute fun exercise, and you just ask that question, and you'll be amazed what comes out of it, right? Usually, now some people just ace it 10 for 10. They have clarity for everything they do, but certain times you say, you know something, why do I do that? You know, and that's a muscle of unpacking the soil, opening yourself up, even though the answer seems stupid to you in the beginning. You get that? I'll just tell you another one. We have another one called the satisfaction cheshbon. Okay, you see, most of us are very duty oriented, you know, and we say, "What's the right thing to do next year? I'm going to do the right thing, and that'll be my Elul plan." And we have this thing called the higher soul and the lower soul, and usually the answers you'll get out of that type of thinking is higher soul answers, which is good, but sometimes it alienates the lower soul. So we have a question where we do a reversal. And we ask like this: you start off general, and you say, "I would be more satisfied with my life if dot dot dot," and you just ramble. I would be more satisfied with my life if this. I would be more satisfied with that, and you just let yourself go, okay? And then you go in areas. More satisfied in my marriage if this. You write down that. I would be more satisfied with my children if this. And you do it from a satisfaction point of view. Number one, it really awakens you. It really wakes you up because the lower soul will get excited, but you come up with 2 or 3 answers that you wouldn't have come up in the normal way. That's another cheshbon. And the last one I'll give in a second, which is one of our greatest hits. It's called the presume. Okay, the presume is from the word presume, as opposed to a resume. I'm going to do a presume. Okay, it's really amazing. It activates certain parts of the mind that we don't usually use. So you say it like this: here I am. It's Erev Rosh Hashanah 5787, which is a year from now. Okay, you're visualizing, you're thinking, and you say, you know, this year 5786 was the greatest year of my life. And let me tell you the story of 5786. And you know what? You write a story out of your imagination, okay? And you write it down, and it takes about 10 or 15 minutes. If I had more time, I would read your mind. And it activates a certain part of the brain that's been dormant. It's that visual part of the mind, that imagination part of the mind. And then if you connect to it, you read it once a month on Rosh Chodesh. Okay. I've had hundreds of people tell me how amazing it is that at the end of the year, a large part of their presumé came out. Isn't that amazing? Now, every one of these exercises activates a different part of the mind, and every one of them might give you one or two chidushim. You take your chidushim at the end of the month, and what comes out of it is like a really nice. We call it our yearly direction, our Elul plan. And on the 25th day of Elul, we actually have a special ceremony we do that we did the avod of Elul. We launch our year, and hopefully we live happily ever after. Anyway, I'm just going to do a quick summary. I had a lot more. Of course, I didn't get to it all, but that's how it is. But anyway, of course, you'd want to take this material and you especially want to say, how does this apply to women? Okay. How does it apply to you as a female? Okay. You have a unique position in your life as the woman, in your family, in your community. That's different. God gave you unique talents and special talents, and you should know what they are and bring them into the world, to your family and the world. As you know better than I know, the Geula is going to come through the woman. The women are winning the World Series in our generation. So use your koach to bring the world there. Figure out your unique contribution and bring that to the world. Okay? And Beseder. Anyway, that's my basic introduction. I have about 5 minutes for questions. If anybody wants to ask questions, just please come on right now. And
okay, so thank you, Rabbi Nivin. Thank you so much. So whoever asks for links to his courses, I'm going to post everything on the WhatsApp groups. So not to worry. On the WhatsApp groups, plus I'm going to post it on the YouTube channel. So anybody who wants to connect to Rabbi Nivin will be able to have that opportunity. Rabbi Nivin, can you just mention, before Chaya asks the question, the three things you brought? Can you just say the three things again?
One of them.
No, the three things that.
Oh, the three tools. One was called the plowing cheshbon.
Okay.
The other one is called the satisfaction cheshbon.
Okay.
The other one is called the presumé.
The presumé. Okay? And the presumé.
Each one is 15, 20 minutes long. You might want to do it a few times, but you do it a couple times. Once again, the whole goal is to expand the mind, to get to expanded consciousness.
Do you do it? Do you do it like weekly or daily, or you just do it once?
I do 10 minutes a day of Elul work. Okay, 10 between 10 and 20 minutes a day. At the end of the month, I need like an hour to two to tie it all together. And that's before the 25th day of Elul. We have a special way of completing the plan. Now, you can do anything you want. You can do any tool, any way you want. They say the only rule is there are no rules, and even that's not a rule. Okay? Whatever tool opens you up, whatever tool expands you, gets you to do deep thinking, you just do it whatever you want. Different people have different ways. But every week, in the beginning, we start out with the easier ones. You're not supposed to jump into Elul too fast. It's very dangerous to jump into Elul too fast. You should soften it up and then get to the harder ones at the end of the month. Okay, very important. That's why we've been going already since Tu B'Av. Okay?
Right.
Just to be able to jump in this week head first, jump off the diving board head first into the water, But yeah, so whatever you want, however you want to do it is fine.
Okay, I'm gonna make sure to. I wish we can start maybe a smaller group. You know what I mean? From here and start now because we missed all of the other stuff. That would be amazing. But anyways, we'll talk about that. Okay, Chaya, go ahead.
I'm definitely open.
Okay, so I'll speak to right afterwards, Bezrat Hashem. Chaya, go ahead. Chaya, you had a question?
Yes, thank you so much. So thank you so much for sharing so graciously with us. This is wonderful. I took some notes and I plan to try this. I had a question about the second tool, and that is, I would be more satisfied with my life if whatever. So the question is like, a lot of people probably, including myself certainly, we will look around and we'll say, okay, I'll be much more satisfied with my life if this and this person was healthy in my life, and that one is doing this, and it's all about other people. So is that, and it doesn't seem like it's going to get me very far. Is that not what you meant? You didn't mean that. Is that correct?
If somebody's not quote unquote changeable or whatever, you don't know how to change them. So you're right. I would be more satisfied with my life if I learned how to transcend the situation with Plony, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now,
that's what you can do about it, right? I see what you're saying.
Yeah, but said, acceptance does not mean resignation, right? I could accept where I'm at and incrementally, lovingly, gently try to move things forward. But if there's like a strong chazaka that something's not changing, then the question is, how can I transcend? Transcendence is what it's all about, That makes sense?
Yes.
Well, that was a great question, because I think it's something that we all struggle with, like what comes into our lives that is from the outside, right? And it's to deal with things that we actually can't control.
Correct.
And that's a great question, really.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I saw somebody else. Was it Chaya Razel who had another question, and they just went off?
I
Chaya
did.
Rivka.
I did.
Hi, Chaya Rivka. How are you?
Baruch Hashem, how are you, darling? Good to see you. Thank you so much, and thank you, Rabbi. I'm just Rabbi, this might be a little bit not related to exactly what you were speaking to, but I've heard that the month of Elul is connected to the Shevat Gad. Can you tell us anything about that? Can you expand a little bit about that?
I didn't hear what you said. It's connected to the what?
She said that it's connected to Shevet Gad, that it's connected to the Shevet of God. I think tomorrow she's going to talk about it. But yeah, go ahead, please.
I'll tell you my honest, authentic answer. Okay. There's a machlochis in the Sefer Yetzirah, which shvatim align with which. So if you read one commentary, he'll say God is this one, but the other one is that. So I choose to stay away from it because there's a machlokus in the Sefer Yetzirah, which will just give me a nervous breakdown. So that's why I choose to stay away from being overly complex. That's my honest answer. But I do have, anyway, that's my honest answer. Okay, I have a time. One more call.
One more question. I know you have another call. Shalamith, do you want to ask something before we finish?
Can I just ask you, if you think that you are totally satisfied,
if you what?
I'm not hearing. Sorry.
Can you repeat that?
Oh, you can't hear. 1 second, 1 minute. Hang on a minute. Oh la la. 1 second. I don't know how to do it.
No,
1 second. I'm trying to do it. 1 minute. Oh my gosh, I don't know what's happened.
No, Shalom, just try. Just say it slowly. Slowly.
What?
Try to say it slowly.
If you think you're working on being satisfied,
if you think what is not satisfied?
No, I am satisfied with where I am living, but other people have an opinion. So how do you work on yourself to give that energy over to other people that you're satisfied without having to validate? Is that the way I
got it. Yeah, I would try to consider their words, do deep thinking, especially if you hold by the person. And if you respectfully disagree with them, you might want to say that to them. I appreciate it. I took your word seriously. I thought about it. But if it's productive to say it, you say it. And if it's not productive to say it, you don't say it. But you have to learn how to have intrinsic self-esteem. And you have to have mentors you'd want to check it out with to see you're being objective. But then you would just learn how to give yourself credit for being who you are and what you want to be in the moment, and respectfully disagree with other people. But how to be objective is a whole sugya in itself.
It is a sugya because I'm always validating. I'll always tell people I get something from Gemach or why I'm this or why I'm that. And I want to stop validating. But is that good?
Okay. I'm sorry, I just have to tell somebody. I'll be a minute. Okay. Yeah. I didn't, could somebody repeat the question?
So she said, Rabbi, that she's always validating. She's always validating, and she's always has to make it to make other people show that she's good. And how does she
up.
What?
To get a thumbs up, to say the right
To get a
answer.
thumbs up. So she's basically saying that she's a people pleaser.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
I don't want to be.
So the answer, and then I'm sadly I have to jump off, but the answer to that question is we have to learn there's three different types of self-esteem. There's intrinsic self-esteem, to know that I'm good no matter what I do. There's intrinsic goodness, I know I'm intrinsically good. And there's primary self-esteem, to know that I'm living my purpose. So you have to working on these type of self-esteem, so you know who you are. Okay, it was nice meeting you all. And there's also opportunities for private coaching if people are interested in that. I just wanted to throw that out.
But Rabbi Nivin, I would really, I'd like to speak to you, because maybe we can get a small group from here to start now and work on all these different areas, because it's so true. I love the analogy that it's like the packed earth. It's like our brain is so packed, and it's actually to start unpacking it. And I love that. That was so brilliant. Thank you so much, Rabbi Nivin. I'll be in touch.
Nice to see you all.
Thank you so much.
To see all the old people who I haven't seen in 20 years. Nice to see you all.
Thank you, Rabbi Nivin. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
I want to mention